AITA for backing out of paying for my sister's wedding dress over a joke she made. I had an incident on my wedding day back in 2017, where my former fiancé abandoned me and ran away with his pregnant mistress. That image, those details are forever engraved on my mind and I'll never forget how I felt that day. This was truly a turning point in my life. My family have always been there for me, so I kept close to them. My younger sister is currently engaged and her wedding will be in a few months. She's struggling with money, so I decided to help her and her fiancé and pay the wedding dress. This allowed her to be able to buy her dream wedding gown that cost $7,000. It's a lot for a dress, but she literally cried because she wanted it. This happened few days before we agreed to go buy the dress. We were eating dinner at my parents' home and my cousin and aunt were there. My aunt was asking my sister about the wedding and my sister said that everything was going according to plan and then casually laughed and said, "Let's just hope he won't ran away with a pregnant mistress or something in our wedding day." I was blown away completely. She laughed and aunt laughed too, as if this was a joke. She was basically mocking what happened with me and my wedding. It happened so fast I got up and started screaming at her, calling her an idiot, but my parents asked me to take it easy and she said it was a joke and she didn't think I'd react so intensely. My aunt remained seated and my cousin asked me to calm down and drink some water, but I grabbed my stuff and as I was getting ready, I told my sister she was getting $0 for her dream wedding dress, then I walked out. I heard louder commotion as I walked and my dad and cousin followed me outside trying to talk, but I asked to be left alone. My and dad spoke to saying I was too harsh on my sister over a joke and said that I know this is how she is with her dark sense of humor. They said she's been crying after I decided to back out of helping her and said this ruined her wedding. They want me to reconsider my decision since it might damage my relationship with my sister, but I refused. Did I overreact? Info: it's my aunt that would usually bring up what happened from time to time and say stuff like, "If what happened didn't happen you would have had at least 2 kids now," or "Do you know what day it is? Your wedding anniversary." It's harsh, but she stopped doing it anymore. Maybe my sister is being influenced by her, but still. It hurt the same, and more coming from my own sister. AITA for wanting my graduation dinner to be about me and not about my impressive sister. I am going to graduate high school. We are celebrating early since my family is down for my sister's college graduation. I have always felt my sister is better than me at basically everything. I got by with B, she was a straight A student and so on. No one ever says it, but I know they prefer her to me. My aunt is not an easy person to impress at all. She was a lot of firsts in the family. We were at dinner and my aunt started to ask about my sister's job she got out of college. The whole rest of dinner was talking about my sister, what she is gonna do and so on. It might as well been a celebration for her. My uncle asked me about if I am going to college and I snapped at him saying, "Why, it doesn't matter, this dinner is about my sister, not me." The table got quiet and my mother told me to apologize. I refused. We got home and I got in an argument with my family who think I was being a jerk. Edit: my sister has her own party with week. That's why I thought my graduation party would be about me. AITA for leaving the engagement dinner due to my fiancé's obsession with the dog. I 28 and proposed recently to my girlfriend 27F. We are planning the wedding to happen next year. My fiancé has a 5-year-old golden retriever mix. I had a few bad experiences with dogs as a kid. Her dog is very friendly and he gets all the attention from my fiancé. She denied some jobs that won't let her work from home as she is worried about the dog. I work from home 3 days a week and she only texts asking how the dog is. I planned this very nice trip last weekend to celebrate our engagement. I booked a nice hotel and made reservations at a nice restaurant. One of our close friends stayed with the dog. My fiancé asked her to text with an update every 2 hours. I did my best to make it a wonderful weekend. We had reservations for 7 p.m. at the restaurant. My fiancé didn't get ready until 6:40 as she hadn't heard from the sitter. When we arrived at the restaurant, we had to wait 30 minutes for a table to open. When we sat down, my fiancé spent the entire dinner on her phone trying to get a hold of the friend. I paid for the meal and got up from the table telling her that I was going to wait in the car. She came out 20 minutes later screaming at me for leaving her at the table alone. I yelled back that she ruined our engagement trip for putting the dog over us. We sat in the silence all the way home and she's thinking about going to stay with her parents. I'm now being called in off for leaving from the restaurant. AITA for exposing my future sister-in-law for bullying me in high school at a family event. In high school, I used to be friends with this girl Annika. We were close until junior year, when I discovered she had been spreading false rumors about me. However, even after I stopped being friends with her, she continued to make up lies about me and made my life hell right up until we graduated. We went to different universities and I'm in my mid-20s now. My older brother Carter went to the same university as Annika. Recently, he announced that he had gotten engaged to his girlfriend. Our family was happy for him, but we were surprised at the same time since we didn't know he was dating anyone. He said he'd introduce her at an upcoming family party. The party rolled around and guess who walked in the door with Carter? Annika. I honestly thought I was hallucinating, and I felt sick seeing her again. Carter left Annika with some relatives, then came over to me and asked to talk. We went to another room and Carter explained he'd met Annika at a party and didn't recognize her, but it was love at first sight. But after he found out her full name, he realized it was the same Annika who spread lies about me. He confronted her and she claimed to not remember me or anything she did. He let it go because he really liked her. He then pleaded with me to be nice to her since she didn't remember what she had done and that she was a good person. I just told him I needed a moment to myself to process everything. When I eventually went back to the party, I decided I would ignore her. I didn't say anything rude, I just didn't talk to her or acknowledge her. She didn't talk to me or acknowledge me either. But when we sat down to eat, all hell broke loose. One of my aunts asked me how I felt about my brother getting married. I tried changing the subject, but she kept pressing, so I eventually snapped and said something like, "I actually don't feel great about it considering his future wife bullied me and never apologized." Everyone turned to look at Annika. She just started crying and ran out of the room. Carter went after her, and they left early. The rest of the night was chaotic because everyone was asking me what happened. I told them. Later, Carter called me and said I was a horrible person for embarrassing Annika in front of the whole family and I was being petty over high school drama. He demanded I apologize to her. I refused and said he was the awful one for blindsiding me with this, and that if she never bothered to reach out and apologize for what she did while they were dating, I wasn't going to let it go now that they were engaged. He kept insisting that she didn't remember, and she can't apologize for something she doesn't remember, but I think that's bullshit. I ended up hanging up on him. The way I see it, I was asked a direct question and I provided a direct answer. Also, I don't think I have any obligation to cover for her when she made my life hell, especially when she's obviously lying about not remembering. AITA. Edit, I can't believe I have to add this, but random people are messaging me about privacy, so I just want to say that the names in this story are fake. I named Annika after a character in a movie and Carter after a character in a book. Please calm down. AITA for not wanting a stranger at my wedding? A couple of months ago, my brother told me he had been dating a guy and wanted to bring him as his guest to my wedding. My wedding is a very small and intimate one, with only family and close friends of myself and my fiancée invited. I asked who this guy was, and he wasn't anyone I've ever met before. My fiancée and I had taken care to only invite the people we are closest to, and I really didn't want someone I've never even met before there. My brother wasn't happy. He said it was the perfect opportunity to introduce his new boyfriend to the family. I said my wedding isn't for that, it's for celebrating my marriage. To compromise, I suggested he plan a family dinner and bring his boyfriend to that. Once the dinner was over, I'd have met the boyfriend, so I'd probably feel more comfortable going to the wedding. My brother agreed. I followed up with him a week later asking when the dinner was, and he asked me to schedule it. I said I was in the middle of planning a wedding, and I felt he needed to schedule it. I followed up later, and he said he wasn't sure what day would work. He never brought it up after that, and neither did I, because I was so busy. My wedding is next week, and my brother still wants to bring his boyfriend, but I said no. I don't want a stranger at my wedding. At this point it is too late to schedule dinner, because the next week is booked with wedding activities, and there's no day I'll have time to drive 2 hours to where the rest of the family is. He says I'm being a dick to not let him bring his boyfriend to a wedding.